Hey gang,
Hello there.
welcome
Welcome.
to episode
Welcome.
47.
AK-47. Quite possibly the best nickname in all of sports. Quite possibly.
Why is it violent names are always the best ones?
Because sports are testosterone filled, and we feel like if we mash the shit out of our opponent, the bigger man we are. So,
What about female sports?
that's why they don't do so well.
Alright,
Tell me who won the NCAA for the females.
Baylor. Take that.
You know who Brittany Griner is? You're aware?
I heard she's the unibrow guy's cousin. That could have just been a racist comment. Or, I think it was a unibrow inspired comment. Does she also have unibrow?
I'm just moving on. That's Brittany. Don't dunk on me when you see me. That's all I ask.
So on today's AK-47 filled, there's gonna be guns everywhere. Episode of the Burning Insomniac Inquiry, we'll be talking about Trayvon Martin,
Hoodies.
Peyton Manning,
Broncos.
and Ontario sex workers.
Pimpin' ain't easy. I was gonna do one word, but I had to do the whole thing.
Could you say ping ping?
We just did a whole episode, man. Oh, Trey!
And with that being said,
You almost forgot to split a tip. You
we
completely
have
forgot
a
to split
tip that we do on this show.
Come on, man.
Don't leave before the tip comes.
Please.
Unless you want to leave before the tip comes.
Please,
because you usually want to leave before the tip comes.
Please, sir.
BOOM! Versely, but not conversely. I do what I can. We're going to be talking about Trayvon Martin. Young black man killed by a Hispanic
He's not Hispanic.
security.
Some Puerto Rican guy.
security.
Some Puerto Rican guy. Neighborhood Watch, my nigga.
Neighborhood Watch. Did you know there's a movie coming out called Neighborhood Watch with Ben Stiller? Can you say bad timing?
Can you say bad movie?
No, but that kid's gonna be in it from 21 Jump Street.
Jonah Hill's in everything, though. It doesn't mean it's gonna be good. 21 Jump Street was barely good.
Whoa, that's a
It was
different
hilarious.
topic for a different time.
No, hilarious and good don't mean the same.
George Zimmerman
You're leaving.
called 911.
You're leaving so much, man.
I'm sorry, I have a too easy thing going on today. This episode's gonna be unfinished. George Zimmerman called 911. And during his 911 phone call, he reported a young black male walking through his neighborhood.
Was he wearing a hoodie?
He said the young black male was wearing a hoodie. He also said he's wearing white tennis shoes, so...
I don't... Actually, no, I do. I didn't think I owned white tennis shoes.
Well, then...
That's from way back in the day.
You need to get that on as well.
I'm not gonna walk around your house with my shoes on.
During this 911 phone call,
I'm an animal.
the 911 dispatcher said, "Thank you for all the information you've given us, but you may stop following him now."
As in, go back to living your fucking life.
George Zimmerman, however, saw the kid running and said, "You know what? They always get away," hung up, and about an hour later, The 911 received a phone call from witnesses saying, "Oh my gosh, something's happening in my neighborhood. I believe someone was shot." So, over the last couple weeks, a whole bunch of different information for this story has been coming out, such as Zimmerman saying that he was in a fight or altercation with Trayvon Martin.
Apparently to the death. Apparently it was whoever died first lost.
Yeah, and in that altercation he claims Martin was bashing his head up against the sidewalk and he was a bloody mess. So
which made him stupid enough to shoot him instead of letting the police handle it.
However, Zimmerman was shown hours later on police footage looking pretty clean as a whistle.
Probably went home to the shower and shit. Did a I killed the nigga happy dance.
He had to center himself.
Hey, not every day you get away with murder. Not every day.
Witnesses claimed that they heard someone crying and then they heard a gunshot. So I don't know what you're defending yourself from, a crying teenager. But
no, apparently he was the one who was crying.
That's also another good point.
But then immediately stopped when the gunshot was taken, because that's what calms soothing babies now. Gunshots. Not milk, not being in your mother's arms. Just lick off a Glock and the baby's gonna go straight to sleep. You can tell I'm just gonna get ignorant this entire segment because I'm clearly pissed.
And the last part was finding out that Zimmerman was Hispanic and no longer the white male that
some Puerto Rican guy
people claimed, that he was born to be.
Because everyone seems to think that if you're not white, then race relations like such as these aren't as big a deal. Because if a Puerto Rican had killed some nigga on the street, everyone would have went along with their day and been like, oh, there's just a minority, they're killing each other again. But if a white man got away with straight murder, then we'd be up in arms like we are.
Alright, so,
hey,
I feel like this is a great place to start.
Go ahead.
Do you think people are justified in their outrage with this case?
I feel as though, well, some of the outrage we've seen might be a little far. I'm not, even though I'm saying he got away with murder, I'm not saying he needs to be murdered. That's not how I roll. I believe if you commit the one crime, you're not going to get this anywhere by getting the same punishment back. Like, it's not going to work. He needs to be at least let the nigga be. The simple fact of the matter is, Trayvon's family's not even asking for, like, murder. They're not going crazy. Let the man have his day in court. He killed someone, let go to trial, let justice be had. That's what the system was put into place for. Why is that so difficult?
Now, I'm not sure exactly why this isn't happening, why it's not going to court, but from what I am hearing is, in Florida, it is illegal
to kill niggas?
To kill somebody if you feel your life is threatened. However, if you can prove that it was self-defense, you are then, I guess, absolved of killing that person. Hold on. In Florida, well, everywhere has this pretty much the same rule, but in Florida, you're allowed to stand your ground. Most places call for you to retreat to your safety zone, which is your house. But in Florida, wherever you are, if that person's coming at you, you can then say, hey, I'm not going to be afraid of you. Yes, you.
Didn't the 911 dispatcher tell him to leave it the fuck alone? Meaning that would have been his retreat to his zone, instead of going and finding himself in Trayvon's zone, which then caused Trayvon to be like, this nigga's in my zone? Right?
Yes.
Am I wrong for this? Because
I agree.
If you seek out trouble, then trouble will then find you.
I agree wholeheartedly, which is why I think even if that whole stand your ground thing wasn't what Florida was built on, then they should at least charge him with, I don't know, going against direct orders from government officials.
Straight up leave it alone.
Like, just everything about this case just seems a little off. The fact that it's taking so long, the fact that Zimmerman's allowed to, like, disappear.
It's a full-time job not to kill niggas.
So he's on vacation right now?
It's a full-time job.
Oh, he's killing other niggas is what you're saying. Yeah, so everything about this case just seems off. Now, there was also a protest, which I'm assuming you're taking part in. Is that what that is right there? I feel like this is having the negative effect, because the first...
you know what it is? It's Coney 2012. Because it started off with, okay, we're gonna wear hoodies in honor of Trayvon's memory because we shouldn't be stigmatized as black kids who are gonna be causing trouble because we wear hoodies. We all wear hoodies. Everybody wears a hoodie. But then it turned into some Hoodies, I wear that. Arizonas, I drink that. And then I turn into Too Easy, vomiting up my stomach contents because you people are fucking ignorant motherfuckers who don't know how to get shit done. Coney apparently got forgot about after 2 weeks. No one seems to care anymore because whoever started it masturbated in public. He has a problem.
Allegedly masturbated.
Doesn't matter. If he has a mental problem, what does that have to do with Coney fucking killing people? What does that have to do with anything? Why is there joke pictures about Coney? This is my problem entirely. Now, we have a hoodie. This is a simple hoodie. It's a piece of fashion for when it's cold, for comfort. I like my hoodies. It's comfortable. We wear them because Trayvon was murdered for being racially profiled in one. When did that turn into a joke? When did that turn into a freestyle? A 17-year-old boy was murdered, and the most we can think about is how we can make that shit funny 3 days later? Really? I'm a nigga for comedy. I'm a nigga for inappropriate comedy. You know this as well as anyone.
I'm sure you'll be freestyling as soon as camera's off.
But you need not in a way where it's like in social networking. That was what the purpose was for, and it's just been completely diluted and bottomed out, and it's disappointing because at the end of the day, what's gonna end up happening is this man's gonna get off scot-free for murder, and everyone's just gonna make a joke about it. In 2012, a white man murdered a 17-year-old boy. That's it. Football. Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. 4-time MVP, that's ridiculously unheard of. In like any sport. I won MVP that many times. But yet he did. He could have won it last year without playing a game. Mind you.
Should have, yeah.
He signed a 5-year, $86 million contract with the Denver. I'm getting there, man. These guys are just big now. They don't serve a purpose anymore. For the Denver Broncos. Now, the contract is provisional because he has more neck problems than someone with another leg problem.
Raph, who fell off of a cliff head first.
I liked where you were going, but then you fell off a cliff head first.
Alright. I'm sorry. I thought I could help.
I'm glad you know, though. So, Peyton Manning, yeah, the first couple of years, I think the first couple of years aren't provisional, but the last 2 of the contract are. So essentially he's going to make $18 million a year. A ridiculous amount of money for an old quarterback with neck problems, sure. But in professional sports, when all that matters is winning, and you have one of the greatest available, you can't say that we didn't do enough. Because if Denver didn't sign him and he went to Miami and they won, everybody in Denver would have lost their fucking minds.
Now, you're saying this as if Denver didn't already have someone who was winning games for them.
Not titles, though. He won games and barely that much.
He played one season, not even a full season. He played half a season.
And then he got his ass raped by Tom Brady. So here's the thing. Peyton's already gotten his ass raped by Tom Brady. So he's over the ass rape. He's now on the I'm a finish now. All I have left is winning. That's it.
I don't think it works like that.
Okay, I tried.
Now, I'm as big a fan as Peyton as the next guy. After seeing what Indianapolis did last year, I became an even bigger fan of Peyton to see how much he actually meant to that team.
Like both defensively and offense and special teams?
And it was embarrassing. Jeez. So, my problem is, you're saying how people have to do enough to win. What happens when you do too much? Like signing a quarterback who hasn't played for a year
and has neck problems
and has no familiarity with your offense, and has been in the same system for his entire career.
We are bringing his system over. Do you see how much money we just paid him?
But are you gonna bring all of his players with him?
We're gonna make our players do what he wants.
It doesn't exactly work like that.
It's gonna work like that. Otherwise, then at the worst case, our fan base can say, we clearly give a fuck about winning more than anybody else right now.
Or your fan base is going to say, why would you trade our savior, the newborn Christ, Timothy Tebow?
I can't take you seriously if you ever refer to Timothy as a newborn Christ ever.
Sorry, newborn football Christ.
Thank you. That's all I ask.
Go ahead.
Because Tebow's terrible, and by the time Tebow would actually be decent, another team would probably be better than they are. Like, Tebow's not gonna get better. I'm sorry, Tebow fans. Which reminds me, they traded Tebow to the Jets because why? The Jets needed two bad quarterbacks so they could race them.
Yeah, actually, that's the plan. That is actually the plan.
That doesn't make sense in any way. Mark Sanchez is like the most fragile ego in football, and you're gonna trade for the quite possibly the savior was what they've been calling him in Denver, and then just trade for him and be like, we're gonna use him as a football player. What he's gonna do, hold the fucking extra point after attempt?
I wish I could tell you exactly what they were thinking, but nobody can. Really.
Like, this is stupider than the Houston Rockets and their trades.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jets, what the fuck are you doing?
But even still, I gotta ask the Broncos, what are you doing?
That makes way more sense.
Does it?
Getting Peyton Manning when you have a quarterback that could be good, or when you have a quarterback that's bad, getting a terrible quarterback that's just slightly better.
I don't know what quarterback around a lot. But the difference is Tebow's actually done something for you. Remember when we were talking about that
Sanchez
thing?
almost
Remember that thing you're talking about? Loyalty, I think is what you called it?
Yeah.
So where's your loyalty to the guy who brought you to the playoffs and won a game in the playoffs? Lastly,
Let's talk about sex, baby.
but not
Let's talk
leastly,
about you and me.
we're talking about prostitution laws in the province of Ontario. Recently, the most confusing law change I've ever read in my life.
Honestly, like, I was a law student, and that was ridiculous. I read literal legal precedent cases, and that made more sense than the article we read.
Yeah, so I can't give you the exact details. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you just a generalization. I want to use hand puppets, but I forgot.
Ill-deposed details.
So here we go. Basically, what had happened was
True.
in the province of Ontario, they say, you know what? Too many prostitutes is dying.
Word.
So what we need to do is find a way to make these prostitutes not die.
Right.
So we're gonna make their job safer by saying, you know what? You can prostitute, but do it inside.
Wow, damn, that's fucking insightful right there, my nigga. Shit.
I do what I can.
Shit.
Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of other things saying you still can't make money off of a prostitute. You still can't solicit a prostitute. But if you are a prostitute, which we shouldn't have, you can prostitute indoors, but you shouldn't be doing it.
And you can hire security so as to avoid people trying to stiff you or be too violent with you. But you're not supposed to be able to make money off of
a prostitute.
So then what do you pay the security with?
You get a part-time job, not prostituting.
But why don't you just pay them with sex? Why don't you just pay them with more sex?
I don't think sex is gonna feed their bodyguard's family.
Who's talking about feeding them? Unless you feeding that gush, you know what I'm talking about, dawg. That gush, you know.
So the point I wanted to make about this was
how retarded it is.
Yeah, it seems really pointless that we're going through all these hoops and setting up all these different. This is the Daffy Duck of laws. Instead of just putting the dynamite in the nigga's face, you're gonna set up a pulley system with a trampoline on top of a boulder, on top of the highest cliff in the world. You're gonna push that shit off, but before the boulder hits the bottom, it's gonna hit another set of trampolines, and then it's gonna bounce to the sun.
You forgot the ramp.
So,
but I can't even front. You talking about my nigga Wiley though? That's Wiley Coyote.
That's my fault.
Yeah, Wiley Coyote is the nigga, the king of the convoluted plans. Like, he has fucking architect specs just for trying to catch a roadrunner. What happened to a gun? Just shoot the fucking thing in the head. I don't. Fucking bird seed that's not real. Bird seed that's attached to fucking dynamite. Painting a picture on a rock and shit. I'm sorry.
I feel like there's a couple episodes where he bought another roadrunner and it was like, I don't want to eat you. I want that roadrunner. So this is what I'm gonna do with you.
He bought a robotic roadrunner to catch the real.
Just couldn't buy a meal. So yeah, this is really pointless. I don't understand why you either just don't legalize it or make it tougher to be a prostitute.
Here's the thing, yo. In terms of legalize it, When you say legalize it, because we were speaking about it earlier, do you mean just make it legal to be a prostitute, or does it have to become a viable business, an enterprise? Because if it's just legalize it, meaning it's okay for bitches to be on the street at 3 in the morning and just get their asses beat, then that's not any better than what we have now. But if we make it a viable enterprise, then it can be like 20-story buildings, you go inside, you have like a fountain. You know, if you have a fountain in the lobby, you're serious.
Very true. But here's my problem with that. I feel, because I don't know any prostitutes personally, most people turn to prostitution because last ditch effort is my only option. I gotta slang something, and that's the only thing I can slang. Just no clean up after.
Exactly.
But so when we do legalize it, you know it's gonna be like you gotta go to fucking Humber College, York University, take prostituting 101. To get in, you gotta like, give them a sex tape. The fashion final course, you gotta like have double hand job in front of like the class. Like it's gonna be ridiculous.
But if that's the case, isn't that exactly what it is that we need to be doing to make sure that if it's gonna be seen as a viable business, a viable enterprise, because it's gonna happen. Even so, if you're gonna say it's if you're desperate, what's the difference between me saying I'm gonna work there and I'm gonna work at fucking McDonald's, UPS, Metro, like. I have no money, I need to get a job right now, so I'm going to do the quickest job I can find. If it involves me taking penis, then whatever.
You make a good point. Tip of the tip! Tip of the tip.
And there goes that. Tip of the tip this time that you haven't given the tip. I can't turn around and you give the tip? Like,
I thought we came to an agreement that all my tips suck and they're terrible.
I gave you this tip.
So that
again.
you can. I don't want your tips. I want to use my own tips.
So they suck.
That's fine with me. I'm okay with that. I'm at a good place in my life.
You should
but
be.
My tips
you
don't always have to be hard-hitting,
good,
award-winning places,
quality fills
that people need
sensible,
to change their lives. I'm okay with just existing,
smart,
in these common days and times,
reasonable,
with one goal in mind.
Not stupid.
So go ahead, buddy.
The tip.
Sometimes.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, to take your time before you make a decision, because all topics today, sometimes, hey, if you take too long, it goes bad. You don't take long enough, it goes really bad. Trayvon, poor Trayvon. Peyton took the right amount of time to me. That was the perfect amount of time. He had the NFL world in the palm of his hands. It might have been too long for some, but I personally thought it was reasonable. Point is, make sure you take your time, you think it out. You might want to get a flow chart, you know, do a fucking good and bad list. Yeah, my arms are getting all in this shit today.
No, you keep going.
All the stuff's over there. I said I'm not saying it no more. By the way, shout out to the newest followers, peoples. I seen you guys. You're shouting us out. Ryan Luckstar. What's his name? Nigel. He was the one who liked it on Facebook.
Points. Fingers. Let him burn.